Welcome to No Tourists Allowed, a podcast where two recognized travel industry executives with a combined 69 years on the inside of travel and technology give up their secrets to the thing everyone wants to do. Travel better, pay less, and see more of the world. Enjoy today's episode.
Hello, I'm Mike Putman.
And I'm James Ferrara.
And we are speaking to you from Belfast, Northern Ireland.
Live on location.
Once again, we did this like 2 or 3 weeks ago, but welcome to episode 13. We've got a couple of very special guests with us today.
And Mike, before we get to that, I want to say I've never been to Belfast before, and we're getting a taste. We're only here for a couple of days, but in accordance with our advice that we like to share with our listeners, we're making the most of those couple of days. We're not getting a lot of sleep, and we're doing some really special things in Belfast. It's a beautiful city. There's beautiful architecture here, incredible history. The more recent history of the last couple of decades of the conflicts here in Belfast, but now Belfast known as the City of Peace. So an incredible new chapter in this city's life. And last night, to really talk about recent history, we went to the Game of Thrones studios just outside of Belfast, where most of the television episodes were filmed, and all of the props and sets were built and then shipped to other locations in the world. And anyway, it's an incredible exhibition, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very big exhibition, and I've never seen Game of Thrones, so it probably didn't impact me as it did some of the others, but we had about 250 travel agents. So James's company, IntelliTravel, is having their annual conference, ITQ, here in Belfast, and that's the reason we're here. And we get to spend a lot of time with quality travel agents as well as suppliers, which we've got a couple we're going to speak to today.
That's right. So we've got two special guests with us. We're sitting in a 125-year-old Presbyterian building, and we're in a room that looks quite a bit like a church with stained glass windows and so on. So we're going to go to church today with a brand I'm sure you've heard of, Virgin Voyages, part of the Virgin family of brands. And with us today, we have Shane Riley, the Vice President of International Sales for Virgin Voyages, and we have Luke Day, the International Training Manager for Virgin Voyages. And these guys are a bit dry, not a lot of personality, so we'll have to try to pull it out of them. But we're going to want to talk a little bit about this Virgin Voyages product and what the experience is like for customers, and also get to know the boys, as we refer to them, a little bit. Welcome, guys.
Thank you. I like being called the boys. That's cool, isn't it? It makes me feel very cool. But yes, we're having a great time here in Belfast. I spent a lot of time with your agents, and we've got a lot to talk about at Virgin Voyages. It's a very exciting time, and lots of new information to come as well.
Get us started, guys. I mean, if our audience doesn't know, and they might, but if they don't know anything about Virgin Voyages, what do we want them to know?
Yeah, so Virgin Voyages, as you mentioned, is part of the Virgin group of companies. And Virgin has been successful in many different sectors, from trains to airlines to internet in the UK and to lots of different things. But the thing that Virgin really sets out to do is change business for good. That is the overall purpose of the Virgin group. So when Virgin enters into a new sector, it's about challenging that sector to raise the bar for the consumers, or in this case, the sailors or passengers. And that's what we set out to do. And so far, based on the feedback and the customer service results we're seeing, or the sailor feedback, should I say, we're doing just that. So some of the things that we did do is really set out to change people's perception of cruise. And there are lots of great things about cruise that we know and love, but there are also things that we really wanted to challenge, especially around inclusions, about the way that crew members are treated and remunerated and rewarded on board. So that was really key. And we know as we've done that, we have already seen a number of changes being made in the industry, in the cruise industry, as a result of Virgin entering into this sector. So that's where we are. We are a fleet of 2 ships right now. By the end of next year, we will have 4 ships. So the opportunity to sail with Virgin Voyages is getting bigger and bigger. And you can head to further and further destinations as each ship arrives.
So in terms of the customer service, customer experience, how would you say a Virgin cruise differentiates from some of the older brands?
Well, that's a very big question. How long have we got to answer that? I'm not sure.
But as a training guy, that should be like a softball. You should just slam this one out of the park.
Hit it out of the park. So I think what we do is our crew operate with the idea of delivering a rock star service experience. So we want everybody to feel like a rock star. And part of that is driven through our rockstar service philosophy. It's all about delivering premium service, just with a bit of personality, right? We encourage our crew to have really great conversations. And instead of, I guess, kind of being motivated by tips that you might see with other brands, our crew are more motivated through engagement. So part of their main purpose is to develop genuine, trusting, playful relationships with our sailors. So with general customers out there, we call our customers sailors. We like it's one of the small things we do with a bit of a Virgin twist. And so rather than being motivated by trying to feel like you're being nickel and dimed, because I think one of the stereotypes of the cruise industry is it costs a fortune to get on and then it costs a fortune to get off.
Right.
Whereas with us, we don't want our sailors or our customers to feel like that. We don't want them to feel like they're being nickel and dimed all the time. So one of the really great perks that we included is tips. We include tips within the voyage fare. But it means that our crew are paid a fair wage, and it means that the experience that you receive from them and the service is genuine and it's authentic. It's not designed with a hidden motive. And if the motive is hidden, it's very obvious because it's all about having a great time.
So would you call it more all-inclusive then?
I would say more inclusive rather than all-inclusive. So I think all-inclusive comes with a stigma in the sense of, you drink as much as you can, try and get as much value for money as you can. And for us, it was about quality. I think all-inclusive does degrade the experience because, naturally by all-inclusive, people are drinking more. Therefore, you have to downgrade the quality to provide the speed of service. So at Virgin Voyages, we focused on providing fare bar pricing, which was really key. So anything that our sailors are purchasing on board, we want them to feel like they're getting exceptional value for money. So we include a lot of things, though, that we figured were essential to their holiday experience. And these are the things that our prospective sailors, when we were creating this product, we asked sailors what they expect to be included. And they told us these are things that they expected. So, for example, Luke mentioned our crew being motivated by the engaging interactions that they have with our sailors. And that sounds like a really simple thing to say, but when you take away from the fact that you are desperate to try and get a tip to kind of balance out your remuneration, when you remove that pressure on the crew, you can allow them to be playful and be themselves, and you unlock this talent. So they no longer have to be relying on tips because they're included as standard. So they're including gratuities and tips. So whether it's in restaurants, bars, etc., there's nothing applied additional to the cost of the drinks on board. So it means that, again, sailors know what the price they're seeing is the price they get. Equally, we didn't want to show people incredible restaurants in a brochure or on our website, and then they find out that they're going to get charged $30, $40, $50 to go to those restaurants. So all of our restaurants are specialty dining standard, but they are included. There are over 20 different eateries and 6 main restaurants that are included as standard. And we include things like Wi-Fi because, again, being able to connect with the world, not only for our crew, but for our sailors, the Wi-Fi is included. Essential drinks like your sodas, your still and sparkling water are included. Group fitness classes. So there's lots of things that are included where you would normally be nickel and dimed elsewhere, right? Where you normally
These are major differences from the other cruise products.
And when you get on board a Virgin Voyages experience, you don't get on board and arrive in the atrium with lots of trestle tables laid out ready to try and sell you things. Because we don't have to sell somebody a specialty dining package. We don't have to sell you a soda package. We don't have to try and sell you Wi-Fi. We don't have to try and sell you all these things that we're so used to getting on board and trying to be sold to. Instead, it's included within the voyage fare, which incidentally are incredible value for money, but it means that you're also receiving an authentic experience. You want to come on board and have a holiday without the feeling that, you need to upsell to be able to get the best experience there is.
Or being hawked, like on a beach in those countries where they sort of hawk stuff at you all day long, right? I know it can feel like that sometimes on other cruises I've been on. So what else is different? And of course, one thing I'm thinking of that's gotten a lot of attention is that Virgin Voyages are not for everyone.
Yes, this is right. Yes, so we are
non-inclusive.
Non-inclusive. We say
You are
not for everyone, and we're certainly not for anybody under the age of 18. So again, we set out on this experience of being able to say we want to create an authentic boutique hotel at sea. And to do that, we want to be very clear in the audience that we're attracting. And to sail with us, you need to be a minimum age of 18, which means we don't have to worry about chicken nuggets or kids clubs or, early entertainment and all of that kind of stuff. It means that we're able to create an experience that allows parents to be able to get away and, not take a guilt trip because they're not going to see other kids on board. They're going to be able to have, again, that authentic experience. And it does mean that we can lean into curating a completely different type of experience. Your experience is going to be consistent throughout the year, where the reality is if you were to sail on a brand that does have children, it could feel very different in a school holiday compared to a non-school holiday, where for Virgin Voyages, obviously, it's the same experience regardless of the time of year that you're going to be sailing on. So it's a big deal.
And so by not having kids, does that give you the ability to have topless dancers?
Unfortunately not, Mike. For you, unfortunately not. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Well, I think for some people it would be an attraction, but no, unfortunately we don't. But what it does allow us to do is to be more creative in our spaces on board. So, for example, we have hammocks on our balconies of our sea terraces, where you probably wouldn't do that if you had kids on board. We have a huge catamaran net, 15 decks high, which you probably wouldn't do if you had kids on board. We host epic pool parties that you wouldn't be able to do if you had kids on board. So when it comes to the entertainment in the theatre, we don't actually have a traditional theatre. It converts into 3 different formats. And one of those shows is something called dual reality. And you are at either side of the stage, and you are within touching distance of the cast. And it is a full immersion experience of the story of Romeo and Juliet told through acrobatics. And it is mind-blowing. But again, you can do that if you have kids on board. You can have what kids bring with them, as well as they bring a lot of joy. They bring a lot of unpredictability around it, right? Very unpredictable. So if you remove that challenge, you can suddenly tweak the experience in a completely different way.
Well, look, this is just clarity about who your customer is and who the experience is intended for, and it is tailored to a certain profile. And I think that's what all good brands do. Yeah. There has been some precedent in the cruise industry, oddly enough, from a cruise line like Disney, for example, where they have areas of the ship that are adult.
Yeah,
only.
Absolutely.
So this kind of takes it a step further. But as long as everyone's clear up front, I think it makes a lot of sense from a marketing point of view.
And I think, given the fact that we're 18 plus, but there is obviously no upper limit to that. But what I would say, our sailors all have something in common. They all have a particular zest for life. They all have this passion for experiencing new things. They all have the passion for the incredible food that we have on board and spending more time in those destinations and wanting something that is not being herded from A to B. They're not all going to go to the main dining room and then be herded to the theatre. They're wanting a plethora of choice and almost like a festival of choice of the onboard experience, because we don't actually have a cruise director. We don't have those announcements that tell you where to be and what to do. Instead, this boutique hotel has an option for you to be able to choose your own path. And that's why we call our passengers sailors, because you're much more than somebody along the ride for the journey. You are somebody that ultimately dictates and creates your own experience. Through the menu that we give you, you can choose a completely different journey. There's 4 of us in this room, and we would all have a very different experience, which is unlike cruise. Because cruise, in its format, typically works by having as many people as you can doing the same thing as possible. For us, we've broken down that whole structure and said, actually, by creating a festival of choice, every single sailor could have a slightly different experience.
So the brand has a legacy of Sir Richard Branson, and then some of the other companies within the family of brands have a sort of cheeky attitude.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Is that also on board, Luke? Do you...
Yeah, I think it's it definitely sort of flows throughout, because kind of we never shy away from our Virgin heritage. Like we're proud to be red, which is great. I mean, if you look back through history and some of the stunts, Virgin's famous for example, when the Millennium Eye was being built in London, or the London Eye, it was known as the Millennium Eye back then. We had there was a
when you were 2.
Yeah, when I was slightly younger. there was a well-known national carrier sponsored the Millennium Eye, right? And then there was a huge problem with raising it into position. And so Virgin got hold of that story. They knew. So what they did was they rented an air balloon or an airship, and on the side they wrote, "BA can't get it up." And then they hung it over the Millennium Eye, and then it was in the press for all to see. And it was a huge, great billboard to show the cheekiness of the brand. And throughout the Virgin history, all the way back to when we started with Virgin Records, right back in the 70s. We're proud of our musical heritage, and that flows throughout the ship. For example, the Manor, which is our two-deck spanning 1970s jazz-inspired New York lounge.
Wow, you've read your stuff.
I've read my brief there.
Yeah,
Right?
I think the playful nature of Virgin is key, right? Richard gives us the ability to be able to play, and those playful, meaningful relationships are the thing that you remember. And the thing that our sailors are coming back to us for, it's consistently telling us it is the service. It is those interactions, those moments that they have with the crew that almost look like they're having the best time of their lives, right? It almost looks like the crew are on vacation themselves because they enjoy just the interacting and making the sailors' holiday the best it possibly can be. And that sounds really cheesy, and it sounds really kind of something you can't really deliver, but it's genuine. When you unlock somebody to be their best selves. And we've changed things, right? So, for example, typically, if you were to go on a cruise line, crew members would have to cover up any tattoos. They wouldn't have visible tattoos, and you'd see them walking around with these odd-looking body socks, which was very bizarre. But we encourage our sailors to be our crew to have tattoos. We actually have a tattoo studio on board. But if they have a tattoo, we encourage them to show them off because tattoos are stories. They're stories about their lives, and ultimately, tattoos came from the idea that sailors used tattoos in the olden days to be able to tell the stories of their journeys. So we allow our crew members to be able to have visible tattoos because that's a way of expressing themselves. We want them to be the authentic selves. And I genuinely think that the product and the experience that we've created on board is providing a safe space for everybody, whoever they are, to just be themselves. We don't tell them what to wear and what to do. We just say, wear clothes. That's the only thing. So we don't have a dress code. In fact, who are we to say to somebody that their jeans are not the right thing to wear when it's their favourite pair of jeans? We want people to be their best authentic selves in the same way that our crew are. And we are playful. We do have lots of opportunities to play throughout the ship. We do love a pun. We like to make ship happen, as we say. But throughout the ship, we say, save water, drink champagne. And one of the playful features that we have is the ability to be able to shake your mobile or cell phone wherever you are on board the ship, and you will get champagne delivered to where you are, called Shake for Champagne. So we take the playful element of, how do you take that experience a little bit further and do something you can't do anywhere else?
Brilliant. Can we extend the shake for champagne? That should apply in life.
It should apply.
No matter where you are.
It's shaking my phone, James. It's shaking my phone.
And this is the longest experience that anybody would have at Virgin, right? Because, of course, we've got airlines, we've got lots of other products and so on. But this is the longest experience anyone will have at Virgin at one time. So that comes with a huge responsibility of making sure that we deliver on what people expect. And given the fact that we've got more 5-star reviews on TripAdvisor than any other brand, I think it's doing the right thing.
That's awesome. So just so our listeners would know, just from a pricing perspective or comparison with other brands that are in a similar space, I mean, you guys are doing something different, so no one's exactly place to place. But what would listeners, what would they see in the marketplace in terms of your pricing?
Typically be looking, obviously it varies at time of the year and so on, but typically you're looking around $300 per night is kind of the typical price. For anybody who's looking at hotels on land right now, you'd struggle to get a reasonable hotel for that kind of price.
Exactly.
And bear in mind all of the inclusions that we have in those as well. And that would be based on a sea terrace cabin, which would include your hammock on your balcony and all of those inclusions. We actually, as standard, we have over $600 US dollars of inclusions. So there's huge amounts of inclusions within that fare. And what we have found, I think, is interesting is I think the price on land has dramatically increased in a lot of ways, and actually in cruise it hasn't. So I think cruise has proved now to be even more exceptional value for money than perhaps land vacations have been. And if you say in one of our Caribbean itineraries, we also have our own private beach club in the Bahamas. So we have the beach club at Bimini, which is Virgin Voyages. And we take the onboard experience to this beach club. So you will have the kind of same vibe, the same ethos of the experience on board, to the beach club, and we also have our bonfires as well. So you can have a bonfire to kind of end towards the end of the day and have these key highlight moments.
But not on board the ship.
We don't have a bonfire on board, no, James. It was frowned upon. But we do have something that you would have thought you'd never be able to get. I mentioned we've got 20 eateries on board and 6 main restaurants. One of those is actually a Korean barbecue restaurant. Now, of course, you imagine trying to create a Korean barbecue on a ship. So we've got a patented design of our electric barbecues and special fans that have been designed to be silent. So you can have, a restaurant with, I think it's 30 or 40 tables, but still be able to have a conversation with each other without the noise of the fans. And the food is incredible. It's an immersive experience. You start the night with some drinking games, and it's a place to make new friends or enjoy the time with your current friends. And equally, you've got other opportunities like the steak and seafood restaurant called The Wake, which is an upscale steakhouse, if you like, with views over the wake of the ship, which is all lit up as we sail in the night time. So you've got these completely different experiences every night, where I describe it as you're in one of the best cities in the world that happens to be moving, because the ship has got all of these opportunities. If you want a burger and a really light bite one night and you just want to grab a hot dog and a quick snack, you can do that. But if you want to sit down and have an amazing restaurant meal in a Michelin star restaurant, then you can do that. So it's kind of we've got the best of uptown and downtown mixed into the experience.
Luke, what's your favorite thing you've ever done on a Virgin cruise? And remember, this is a family show. Please.
It's not a family show. You can
Oh my goodness. So
I'm nervous now. What I'm going to say, 'cause, I've got to deal with the repercussions.
I wouldn't say this is my favourite. I'd say it's probably one of my most memorable moments. So I used to work on board the ship, right? So I used to be the training manager on board one of our ships. And last year there was a soccer tournament, the Euros.
Yes.
England made it through to the final, and it was against Italy. And one of our restaurants, Extra Virgin, has one of those ways of delivering authenticity. Is we have a really great head chef there who just happened to be Italian as well. And I was really good friends with him. We're chatting, and then we decided to make a bet. We're like, okay, do you know what? Okay, let's have a bet here. If Italy win the Euros, I will get Italy on my body. I will get the shape of Italy.
You mean the tattoo?
Yeah. I will get the tattoo.
Not just the country.
Yeah. I will get the tattoo of Italy on my body. And he was like, okay, fine. And I was like, but if England win, okay, tell you what, you've got to get God Save the Queen. Which I was saying, no, it's a bit slightly insensitive. Anyway, you have to get a tattoo there of a down your neck. And he got for that. So we shook hands, which was great. And then obviously the first goal went in. If you're any soccer fans out there, you'll know the drama. First goal went in. I was ecstatic, standing there going, you're going to get the tattoo. It's going to be great. And then obviously Italy then scored the equaliser, and then they went on to win, and then ended up having to get Italy on my body.
And he does, it's true. He does have the shape of Italy tattoo on his ankle.
Oh, I can't. I was going to tease everyone listening.
I'm not going to go down
possibly show you where it is.
No, I'm not having that. I'm not
but it is on my ankle.
Yeah. I think my favourite experience actually wasn't my experience. My favourite experience was the fact that I joined Virgin Voyages 5 years ago, and I was lucky enough to be approached to come and join the company. And I was working for other cruise lines at the time. And I was doing very well, just been promoted. I was the director position, and everything was going really well. And I told my dad I'd been approached to go work for Virgin. And he said, how many ships have they got? And at the time, I said, none. How big will your team will be? I said, well, it'll just be me to start with. And what's your marketing budget? Well, there isn't anything. And I literally started with nothing. I had a blank piece of paper with nothing, and I was lucky enough to be very, very early in the startup. And he put the phone down. 30 minutes later, he called me and said, I think you've lost your mind. I don't know what you're doing. It's crazy. And then last year, they actually got to sail for the first time with us as we set sail for the first time after a long delay with COVID, obviously. But my dad called me from the ship. He was on board with my mum and dad, with my mum and my auntie and uncle. And he called me and said, this is effing brilliant. How have you come up with this? And my mum and dad cruise a lot, and now they're complete converts. And that moment for me of going, this journey was worth it. We got all the way through COVID, and we got to the point of delivering the ship and launching this product for the first time. And for my dad to say, you're right, you've done it. This is incredible. So that was a moment for me where I was like, yes, it was all worth it.
That's a great story. And so we have Scarlet Lady, right?
Yes, and Scarlet. Then Valiant is the second ship. So she's already sailing. And then next year we'll introduce another 2 ships. So we'll have Resilient Lady, which will be sailing the Mediterranean in the summer, and she'll be heading over to the Caribbean for the winter. And then we have our 4th ship, Brilliant Lady. So yes, suddenly from no ships to 4 ships in a very blink of an eye, which feels like it.
Excellent. Well, I know Mike's itching to ask you some travel questions, right, Mike?
So
I'm nervous about Mike's questions. Mike was very smug about these questions.
I didn't know what he was setting me up for, to be honest with you. I was going to ask you guys if y'all shop at the same place, because you guys on the podcast, listening to the podcast, can't tell, but they both have gray felt blazers. Skinny.
We've essentially merged into each other. So we've worked together for a year now, and I think really Luke's trying to be me.
Yeah, skinny black jeans and what we would call tennis shoes, they call trainers, but special trainers that they got. Anyhow, so this part of the podcast, we like to ask a few questions. And we call this our rapid fire question session. So just one word or one short phrase, just the first thing that comes to your mind.
Are you nervous, Luke?
No judging.
I'm nervous.
There's no judgment.
No judgment.
No, All right. So what are your favorite destinations?
Maldives.
Maldives. How about for you?
Dubai.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. That would not have been what I would have guessed, but very good. Very good. All right. How about your favorite either hotel chain or independent property, being a hotel property?
Hotel chain for me would be the Citizen M hotels. You can find them in Amsterdam, London. So that's where I'll stay the most. Or Lux, Lux, which you'll find in the Maldives and Mauritius.
I like a W.
Yes, W hotel. Oh, I should have said W. Oh, you've taken mine.
Yeah, sorry about that.
A little clubby.
That's it.
A
little clubby, a little vibey.
Good music.
That's it.
But M's too. Citizen M's have nice
style.
Yes. And they've got that lobby. It's not really a lobby, it's just a bar.
Yeah, it's a working area. It's
kind of hang out.
You can hang out, work there.
But my favourite hotel in the world is the Cosmopolitan in Vegas.
Yes, that is true.
It is the best hotel I've ever stayed in my life. It's so good.
Originally built and owned by Marriott.
It was going to be condos or something, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right. And it was turned into a hotel. But just recently acquired by MGM, I believe.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did they own all of Vegas now?
Oh, my God.
They're trying. They're certainly trying. We'll skip the next question because the answers would be too obvious of what is your favorite cruise line.
Would it, though? Would it? I was on the edge of our seats now. But of course it'd be Virgin Voyages, Luke.
Yeah. So one thing we like to ask our guests is if you have any kind of tip for travelers. So when you're traveling, is there something that you do that makes your journey smooth or something that's memorable? It might be, a certain type of pillow for a plane, or it might be some other tip. Is there anything comes to mind for you guys?
Do you have anything, Luke?
Do you know, I do have a tip for when you arrive in your room, okay, and you've brought a nice shirt, but it's all crumpled up in your bag, okay, but you go to your room, there's no iron. So what do you do?
Request one.
Well, yeah. You can do that. You can request.
Or you can't request
Or if you can't request an iron, hairdryer.
What?
Yeah, you get a hairdryer, you turn on the hottest setting, the fastest setting, you hold it up, and you hold it very close, and you watch the creases disappear.
I feel like this is a fire hazard.
If you do it wrong, you got your shirt go up in place. Well, you know what I do is I hang my shirts in the shower.
That's what I thought he was going to say.
Turn on the hot water, close the door, kind of ruin the bathroom. Yeah, if you give it about 15 minutes, all the wrinkles.
Far more responsible.
It's not incredibly sustainable, James, if you don't mind me saying. But there we go.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah. Okay, what about you?
Mine is packing cube. Well, two big ones. Packing cubes. So I don't know if you've heard of these, but these are things that you can purchase. You can get them on Amazon or wherever, all good stores. And they're ways for you to segment your packing. So it's really easy. You can label them so you know exactly what's meant to be where. The case looks very organised. And when you come to pack to come home, you can do the same thing. So when you get back, doing the laundry is nice and easy. But speaking of laundry, my biggest tip would be try and choose a property or a line or a destination that will do the laundry for you before you return home. Because actually, what you don't want to do is have a really relaxing vacation, have an amazing holiday, and then come back to the stress of having to catch up with laundry and do all that stuff. So if you can do all of that in destination, you can arrive home, just simply put your things away and keep that holiday vibe going. That's the best tip ever.
Absolutely. Sometimes the hotels will really get you, though, for for laundry. So finding a place nearby that's
you don't
just
have
a
to use the
regular
hotel. Quite
cleaner
often there are places
could be a fifth of the cost of doing it in the hotel.
That's actually one of my tips, is to use the fluff and fold. So when I pack, like I went to Scotland for 17 days a couple of months ago, I took one rollerboard, right? And I just filled it with the amount of clothes that it holds, and then I would take it to a fluff and fold, just take everything, put it in a bag, get them to do the washing, drying, and bring it back. And instead of it being 120 pounds, because I was in Scotland, it was 10 pounds.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, I pack my dress shirts, long sleeve shirts, and pants. Mike makes fun of my tips, but I leave them in the dry cleaner plastic on the hangers and pack them that way in my suitcase. And that way, when I arrive at the hotel, the plastic does something like the clothes slip against each other instead of get creased. And I also, it's like a 2-finger unpack. I take everything out and hang it in the closet.
I like it.
And it's like instant. And I'm usually downstairs in the bar, and everyone else is like an hour later they make it down.
So too busy with the hair dryer.
I like it.
But with the dress shirts, when I take mine to get cleaned, even at home, I get them folded and packaged in plastic bags, and they put a piece of cardboard in there. And I used to travel a lot, and even at home, I get that. So I've got in my closet, I've just got racks of dress shirts that are all ready to go. I can take them, throw them in a suitcase, and go, and they're somewhat unwrinkled when I get there.
Yes, good. These are good tips.
Yeah, well, good. Well, we really appreciate you guys stopping in and sharing your time.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Giving our listeners some more information about Virgin Voyages. And if they wanted to book a Virgin Voyage, this is your real test. Don't mess up on this. What should they do?
Contact their favorite travel advisor.
Bingo.
So, and we have done huge amounts of training with our travel advisors. So contact them, ask them where they are from this Academy status, which is our training platform. If they're gold, then you know that absolutely they know their stuff. They've done their training. And we've actually spent the last year or so getting as many travel advisors as we can on board the ship so they can give you first-hand knowledge. But they are, honestly, I'm not just saying that because we're here, they are the best source for you because they've been through the research, they will have done the work, they've either sailed with us or done the training. So get hold of your favorite travel advisor to speak to them about Virgin Voyages.
Excellent.
Thank you for that. We work closely with Virgin in the States and in the UK, and I can attest to the great program that you guys have put together to train agents, and also the great product, because the reviews and marks coming back from customers are fantastic.
Good. Thank you so much.
Congratulations to you. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, guys. Enjoy the rest of Belfast.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Well, that was great to have Virgin Voyages with us. Normally, we would have our deals guru, Jessica Deverson, with us, but she's been on back-to-back trips. We heard from her last week when she came back from the Middle East, but then she's off again. She's actually teaching selling travel to millennials and Gen Z travelers, which is a really interesting topic. So when she's back with us next week, we can talk more about that. So for this week, Mike, I think we're going to get out there and enjoy what time we have left in Belfast in Northern Ireland here. And it really is beautiful. I highly recommend a visit here. And Mike, I'm going to give it back to you.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, it's been a pretty hectic week. Lots of meetings, lots of information to go over with the group here, and I've got Wheels Up tomorrow at 7 a.m. So I'm going to try to get a little fun in and some relaxation before I head home. But it was great spending time with you, our listeners. And this will wrap up episode, believe it or not, this is number 13. So make sure you tell your friends and family to go to notouristallowed.com, where they can download all of our back podcasts, or they can go to any place where they download their podcast, Spotify, Apple, etc., and they can download there. So thanks so much for your support. We look forward to coming back to you next week with some more exciting travel information.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, listeners, I know we said that Jessica was not going to be able to join us, but our deal diva actually called in and said she is ready to give us some great deals. She's been preparing this content all week long. So without further ado, here is Jessica Deverson.
Thanks for having me. Just got back actually from Cancun, Mexico, where I got quote unquote stranded at a very nice resort where it never rained once and there was nothing but free drinks and beautiful sunrises on the beach. So, things are going pretty well for me. Escaped the storm, luckily, and I live in Florida, so I just want to say to everybody who lives in Florida who might be recovering from the storm, wishing you the best. And I'm, sorry to everyone who definitely sustained damage. Not everybody was very lucky. And, I'm really sorry to see what has happened to our state. But we'll get through it. Everybody will get through it. So I'm just wishing everybody luck and safety and, quick recovery. With that said, the resort I was actually staying at over the past week is part of the AMR collection. And the AMR collection, if you're not familiar, includes the Secrets, Breathless, Zoetry, Sunscape, and Now resorts and spas. So all of those brands are actually having a big savings event for fall. It's called Fall into Savings. And during this fall savings event, guests will receive hotel discounts up to 40%, $200 in resort coupons, complimentary massage, $30 kid rates, free stays for kids, depending on the resort, exclusive perks, and so much more. And then these are the types with this brand, when you book with your travel advisor, directly with the travel advisor, usually they're able to get you even more perks and amenities. So definitely talk to them. Like I said, I just stayed there last week. I was at the Breathless and Secrets brands over in Mexico, and it was just a really lovely time. Beautiful pools, beautiful beaches, the most helpful, amazing, kind, attentive staff, free-flowing drinks, tons of food. So a really great experience. These are really nice brands. They're all over. Destinations include Cancun, Caribbean, Central America, Dominican Republic, Mexico. So talk to your travel advisor, like I said. And the booking window for this is through the end of October, and you can for travel anytime now until the beginning of April next year. So you got some time to plan a great vacation to one of the AMR collection resorts. Next up is Universal Parks and Resorts Vacations. And, I know a lot of people know about the theme park, but they also have a vacations collection, which you can book directly with travel advisors as well. And right now they're running a special offer where you can save 30% on a 5-day, 5-night vacation package at Universal Orlando Resort. So vacation package includes, what you would expect. It's that 3-park, 5-day park pass, and you can move park to park. And that vacation package, that ticket actually includes trips to Universal Studios, Florida, Universal's Islands of Adventure, and Universal's Volcano Bay. And you'll also, with that package, you get a 5-night hotel accommodation at Universal's Cabana Bay Beach Resort or Universal's Aventura Hotel. So a really great experience for the whole family. And then also with that vacation package, they include complimentary transportation to Universal's theme parks and Universal City Walk. So you don't have to arrange for transportation. They have that covered for you. And then you'll also get an early park admission to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter and Universal's Volcano Bay up to 1 hour before the park opens. And that's a really great little perk if you've been there and you know how crowded it gets, especially the Wizarding World, that gets packed. But if you get there 1 hour before the park opens, I mean, that's a really unique experience and totally worth it for this vacation package. And then that you can book now for travel through February 16th of next year. And finally, my third offer for you guys today is Princess Cruises. And Princess Cruises is running the Love Boat sale. So in conjunction with the new show premiering in October, you might have heard of it, but it's called The Real Love Boat, and it's aboard a Princess cruise ship. And there's a version airing in the US and I think Australia as well. And with the Princess Love Boat sale, so like I said, in conjunction with the show premiering in October, they want you to set sail with the Real Love Boat, which is Princess Cruise Line. They want you to experience what it's all about, enjoy the VIP treatment, experience service that's just all about making you feel special on board. And with this sale, you'll book with a $100 refundable deposit, and then you'll also get the $100 shore excursion credit, drinks, Wi-Fi, and crew appreciation, also known as prepaid gratuities. Plus, they're slashing fares up to 30% off. So really great deal. They're really excited about this premiere, and so they really want everybody to experience the Princess Cruises, vibe. And that's a $765 value on a 7-day cruise, which is, like I said, really rich offer. And destinations include Caribbean, Alaska, Hawaii, Europe, Mexico, coastal California. They do the entire West Coast. Then up on the East Coast, they do Canada and New England. And then also some of your further destinations, Asia, South America, Australia, New Zealand. I mean, basically everywhere. They're sailing everywhere. So contact your travel advisor to talk about specific itineraries and dates of sailings. But this offer ends October 31st. So you have a few weeks to go get this offer and take advantage of the Love Boat sale. So with that, I just want to say definitely contact your professional travel advisor to find out more about these offers and to book. And that's about it for me, guys.
All right, podcast listeners, we are really excited about our upcoming contest that we've been talking about for several weeks, and we are super duper excited to release it this week. And our first prize of this contest, and this contest will go over for some period of time, and we've got lots of travel packages and offers for you, or prizes for you. But I'm going to bring in our producer, which you guys have never heard from, but our producer who does a great job week in, week out of putting this podcast together and bleeping out all the mistakes that James and I make. But I'd like to welcome Nathaniel, who will go over the rules and regulations and how to qualify for this contest. Take it away, Nathaniel.
Thanks for the introduction, Mike, and hello to all the listeners. It's nice to officially meet you. You might recognize my voice as I do the intro and the outro for the podcast. So whether you know it or not, you've heard me before. That's besides the point, because we're here today to tell you about a really, really exciting announcement. We are giving away a free, absolutely free 3-night stay at a Universal Parks and Resorts hotel for you and a loved one, starting right now. Now, I know you might be asking, this sounds great. How do I enter? Well, it's super easy. Go to notouristallowed.com/raffle, and you'll see a ton of ways to get raffle points for entries towards the giveaway. The more points you have, the higher your chances of winning. It's a raffle. Get it? Now, we really want to maximize the amount of points that you can get towards the raffle. So every week, we're going to ask a mystery question in the podcast worth 5 extra points. All you have to do is answer that. And then every week for a month, you can get 5 extra points on the raffle. It's that easy. That 20 extra raffle points, 20 extra entries right there alone. Just for listening to a podcast and answering a travel question, that's a pretty good deal. But we have other ways to enter the raffle as well. But there are more ways to join. You get an automatic 2 points towards the raffle just for joining, 4 points for every friend that you refer, 5 points just for subscribing to the podcast if you aren't already subscribed. And if you're not, why not? You're missing out on a great podcast. And then those 5 extra points every single week just for answering a question. I mean, it doesn't get easier than that. And that's the whole point. We want to give back to all of you, all the listeners, all the fans, because you guys have helped this phenomenal growth happen and occur. And we're so excited to give you a free 3-night stay at a Universal Parks and Resorts hotel for you and that loved one in your life. So go to notouristallowed.com/raffle and win a trip. It's that easy. And you can find the link for that in the episode description. And we'll put it on the homepage of the website as well. So if you get lost, just go to notouristallowed.com. You'll be able to find it from there. And thanks, as always, for listening.